Hey guys, it's Benedict time. I hope everyone is trying. I hope everyone is fighting. Life is not easy in this world that we've found ourselves in. I do not have a doubt that we are in a prison, that we are slaves. I don't even think that is something that we must debate about. I know that some people will say, it has to do with how you think. If you are in a prison and you think that you're not in a prison, then it won't feel so much like a prison, but that wouldn't mean that you're not in a prison. That wouldn't mean that you're not being told when to sleep, when to wake up, when to eat, when to talk to your loved ones, when to exercise. It would just mean that you don't think that you are in prison. And that might have a lot to do with your level of consciousness, your level of awareness. There are people who are in relationships where they are being mistreated in so many different ways, but because they are not conscious enough to realize that, they don't see that they are being abused. There's a reason why. For a person who is in an abusive relationship, this person ends up realizing that they're in an abusive relationship and they leave their relationship, they will be mad at the person who was mistreating them their whole lives, because they will think about how they were being mistreated. There's a person that you know who's been married, and they were married to a person who was very abusive, but they managed to get out of that marriage. They will hate that person forever, because they will realize that they put up with some things that they shouldn't have put up with. So at the time, it didn't feel like they were being mistreated. At the time, it felt like that was normal. If a child grows up in a family where they're not being treated right, let's say the parents are abusive, that child might think that that is normal. I remember when I was working as a teacher, every 6 months, counselors will come. They'll go to to different schools, talking to kids, asking them, primary school kids that are between the age of 6 and 15. They'll ask them how they're being treated at home. They'll ask them, hey, is there someone who's touching you like this? Is there someone who's making you do things that you don't want to do, things that you don't feel comfortable doing? Some kids will actually expose their parents, but they would not know that the way that they were being treated was not right until they're told, that no, actually you were being abused. Actually, you were abused. Why? Because they were not conscious enough. That is why some people never talk to their parents. Like, they get old and they don't ever want to talk to their parents because of what they went through when they were little. So at the time, they knew nothing, right? So they got abused, but they didn't know they were being abused until they got older and they're like, wow, my parents are horrible people. So let's not pretend as if everyone is conscious enough to see the truth. There's a reason why we have different religions in this world. There's a reason why people believe lies. We know that there are people who've been manipulated, who are very easy to manipulate, right? We've seen so many fake prophets get away with a lot of things here in our country, perform tricks for people, and they believe. So we're not operating at the same level of consciousness. So yes, some people can be in prison, but not even realize that they're in prison because of their level of awareness. Like, they're too damn unconscious to see the truth. That doesn't mean that the truth will not affect them. So I am totally aware that I am a slave and I'm in prison. What makes this the worst kind of prison is that you are not given instructions. You're not told what you need to do. If you don't do it, you're going to be in pain. You're going to suffer more. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're going to suffer more. You don't know how long you're going to be in this prison. You don't know. Any day could be your last day. I mean, that's kind of like how it seems. But you don't even know if you end up leaving the prison, if you are actually going to be free. Right? You don't even understand the concept. Like, maybe you do understand the concept of freedom, but you don't know if it's really possible. So, okay, you're here, you're having this experience, you can feel that something is wrong and it's a prison. But when your time is up here, are you going to be free? Or are you going to find yourself in another prison and forget everything? You forget what you've went through, you forgot the torture, the trauma that you've experienced, you forget all of that. You find yourself in another prison thinking that it's not a prison. And as you become conscious, you become more and more conscious, you start to realize that something is wrong, something is off. And the sad thing about it is that you won't know that you were ever in another prison. To you, it'll feel like this is the first time in prison, and you'll be thinking, yeah, one day it's gonna be over, and then boom, it starts again. You don't know anything. You don't know why you are in prison. It would be better if it was explained to you that, hey man, look, in your previous life, you stole something that belonged to someone who decided to open a case for you. So you're gonna be here and do your time. You'll see things not working out for you. You live in poverty. You try what you try, but nothing will ever work out for you. You know what I'm saying? Or you will try to be in a relationship. You would want to be in a relationship, but you'll never find a good partner. All your life you're going to be struggling when it comes to relationship. Maybe because in your previous life you abused the person that you were in a relationship with. So now your relationships must not work. You know what I'm saying? You'll find yourself in a place where no one really understands you, because in your previous life you had a child, and that child, you didn't understand the child. You didn't give that child you know what I'm saying, the attention that they deserved. So you suffered because of that. At least if it was explained, you'd be like, okay, you know what, man, I understand what it's like to be misunderstood. I understand what it's like to be alone. I understand what it's like to not have a relationship, the kind of relationship that you want. I understand what it's like to be hated by everyone. I understand what it's like to not be noticed. You know what I'm saying? Now I get it. Now I've learned my lesson. I understand why I'm being punished, but I've learned my lesson, and I'm glad that I have. You know what you need to be doing, but you don't know. You can't even think back and be like, yeah, this is what I did. Prisoners here are told what they've done. They know exactly what they've done. They know exactly how much time they'll do. If they're gonna get out, they know. They know how the people who were affected feel. But you know nothing. You don't have the answers. I watched the movie recap. I forgot the name of the movie. But this lady found herself in this maze. Doesn't know why she's there, how she got there, what is that place. She doesn't know. But she went through a lot in that place. No one is telling her, no one is telling her what she needs to do, where she needs to go, nothing. She'll go to this place, find that, there's some zombie that wants to kill her. She runs away, closes the door, go to another place. She finds that there's many traps. There's a wire there. She needs to make sure that she does not touch the wire, otherwise she's gonna be injured. That's life. You cannot tell me that girl is free. When she got injured, there was this thing that will come and try to heal her. There was this AI thing that will come and it will, examine her body and heal. And if she's not conscious enough, she'll think, maybe it's not a prison, because when I'm injured, there are solutions here, right? But no, she's totally in prison. She's not in control of her own life. She's living in fear. You see, we are living in fear. We're not really in control of our own lives. You can wake up tomorrow and they tell you that you have a terminal illness. You're like, what? Really? A terminal illness? And you find that it's going to cost a lot to prolong your life. You can imagine if you worked your whole life, you reach the age of 60, it's time to retire. You're supposed to get your money and at least do some of the things that you wanted to do, when you didn't have time. So now you have time and they tell you, oh yeah, you have a terminal illness. Now you have to spend your money. The money that this is life, bro. This happens to people. And you don't know. You don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Life can be very unpredictable. You find that every day seems to be the same and it becomes boring, but sometimes weird things happen. Things that you don't expect. Things that don't happen every day. It happens and you find that it's a bad thing. It's things that maybe might change your life forever. You can wake up in the morning and decide to go to work, get involved in a car accident, you lose your leg, or these things happen in this realm. These things happen to people, change their life forever. You could lose your job. They will tell you tomorrow that you don't have a job anymore. You have a family. You have a family that relies on you. You have children. They tuition fees and everything. You can't pay for the basic things that your wife needs, that your children need, that you need. You don't know what to do. It's hard to get a job in this realm. It's hard. It's not like jobs are available like that. And I was having a conversation with someone about this. It's like, if this was in a hell realm, you know what will happen? There will be more jobs than people. Meaning that once you've gotten enough training for what you want to do, there's a job that's going to be waiting for you. You just choose what kind of job you want. It's up to you. You just have to get the qualification that you need. Yes, and because now you qualify, you just choose the job that you want. You won't feel more like a slave. You'll kind of like enjoy it because it's what you really wanted. But people, they spend like 15 years of their life in poverty, paying a lot of money to get educated, and then, you know, after they got their qualification, there are no jobs for real. So they have to stay at home, no money. Their parents have to look at them. This reminds me of this meme that I saw. So they showed a cow on top of a bird, and they said, "This is how your parents look at you when you're unemployed." So now your parents are gonna look at you and be like, "Hey, we did that. We played our part. What's going on? You need to apply. You need to apply for a job. Like other kids. You see your friend got a job. Why don't you have a job? It means there's something that you're not doing right. Now you'll be blamed. We go through a lot in this realm, bro. For people to be saying it's not a prison. What is it? Yes, of course, not everyone is gonna suffer the same way. You might find that your relationships are working. Yes. And you got some money, yes, but you have a terminal illness. You know you're gonna die soon. Maybe you're diabetic, and that's affecting your life in many different ways. Like this reminds me of this episode of Rick and Morty. I don't remember the name of the episode, but Rick met the devil. The devil was giving people what they want, but they had to pay a price. Like there was nothing for mahala. There was nothing that was free, right? So this guy, he was like a pervert, right? He liked women. He wasn't getting women, so his biggest wish was that he gets women. So the devil did his thing, and all of a sudden, all the women wanted him. They were chasing him, right? Everywhere he went, they were chasing him, but he couldn't get it up. Back then, he was able to get it up, but he was getting no girls. Now that he's getting the girls, he can't get it up. You know what I'm saying? So this is how the world works. It's like it doesn't really give people everything. You know what I'm saying? It could give you what seems to be everything, but you find that you're not smart. Or there's nothing that you appreciate. Let me give you this simple example. When I was growing up, I liked rap. I still do. Had no DVD player. There was no DSTV at home. There were kids who had DVD players, they had DSTVs, they had these things that I wanted, but they didn't appreciate that, like any of that. Like they didn't even watch TV. And I'll be thinking, if I had a DSTV, I would just be chilling at home, watching American rappers. I had 50 Cent just dropped a song, you know what I'm saying? There's a song called Window Shopper. They say it's 50 Cent's new song. I don't know how it sounds. I like Candy Shop, that kind of, you know what I'm saying? I like Candy Shop, so obviously I'm gonna like Window Shopper. And now you spend months looking for that one song that you haven't heard, but you know that 50 Cent has released that song, and then of course when you hear it for the first time, it's nice. I mean, at the time I really loved hip hop. That when I first heard Window Shopper, I was a bit disappointed because I didn't really like the beat. Like I thought it was like Candy Shop, like it's just gonna be those kind of songs. But then I still loved it. I was like, damn, I like the way it's flowing. You know what I'm saying? I love the music video. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy who came from nothing, and now he's stunting. It's like, yo, I came from nothing, so it feels better. When you're at the top, when you came from the bottom. He's smiling, right? He's driving his nice car, and I'm loving that. So there are people who had what I wanted, but they didn't appreciate what I wanted. But you know what I'm saying? So it can happen that you see a person who seems to be having it all, but they don't appreciate any of it. It doesn't mean anything to them. So they're not happy still, even though they have the things that you want. I remember I gave you this example that a lot of people who, not a lot of people, but there are some people who have a lot of money. They flexing all the time, posting on Facebook, like the post pictures holding expensive wine. You know what I'm saying? Every time when they buy Hennessy, they're holding it, taking photos with it. Every time they buy something expensive, you know, I don't know if they're happy. It's like they're just trying to, flex because they're not really happy. It's like there's something that is missing. So they're like, yeah, at least if I'm flexing, at least if people know I have this, I have that, they feel better. You know what I mean? They get, some level of joy from that. That's how it is in this realm, bro. That's exactly how it is. So we are being tortured in many different ways, and we don't know what is the way out. And if we ever going to be free, we don't know. You don't know why you're here. You don't know what you're supposed to do. But even though you don't know what you're supposed to do, you will suffer if you don't do what you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? That's what's that. So you like you don't matter. I guess that's kind of like how it would be like if you didn't matter, right? It's like no one comes to explain to you that, hey, this is what's going on. Like you're not respected enough to be told what is actually going on. You just suffer and you don't have the power to set yourself free. It's like we are so taken for granted that we can just go through things without having like someone really explaining to us what is really going on, and it doesn't matter how much we're suffering. There are people who have ended their lives because they were in a lot of pain. No one appears to them like, yeah, stop. Before you do that, let me explain to you what is actually going on here. I think you deserve to know. I mean, come on. You can't go through what you've went through and you're not told anything. So, no, let me tell you what's going on. This is an experiment that we're trying to do, and we're trying to figure some things. But again, it would be stupid if it's an experiment because I think some things are obvious. I've always felt weird when I saw scientists like doing some experiments and they're using animals, right, to discover something, and you'll be like, I know the truth. I know what the outcome is going to be. You don't need to do that experiment. That's just, you know what I'm saying? You're just harming these animals for nothing. Just ask us, the philosophers will tell you what the outcome will be. You don't need to prove anything. Stop torturing these rats. You know what I'm saying? Just because you have power to do that doesn't make it right. Because if that makes it right, if they are beings that are higher than you, they can do whatever they want. And we don't want reality to be like that. We don't want reality to be horror, basically. Those who are powerful are taking advantage of those who are not powerful. Those who do not have rights. We don't want that. You don't want to live in a world like that, because obviously you will suffer the same, right? You will actually suffer the same. People like to look at themselves as if they're better than those who have more power than them, who are mistreating them. But you find that you're the same. You're only, because it doesn't benefit you, like someone being on top and not treating you right, because that doesn't benefit you, you are unable to see that it's unfair and it's not right. But if you were the one at the top who was benefiting, it would be very hard for you to see that. I mean, if you are conscious enough, yes, you will be able to see that, but it will be hard if you're not conscious. You see? That's why there are many people who are doing very well in life, who are making decisions for others, and they feel entitled. You know what I'm saying? They feel so damn entitled that they are getting away with a lot of things and thinking that it's right. You get what I'm saying? It has to do with how they experience life. They were always at the top, so they're used to that, the power that they were given. When people are given a lot of power, they tend to abuse it. They tend to abuse their power. So humans are doing the same to animals. You find that they're doing unnecessary things, putting rats in small boxes, and sometimes not giving them food because they're experimenting, and you're like, no, they can get the answers without having to do that. animals that we eat, put them in places where they are truly uncomfortable, where they are not well taken care of, because all we want is meat. That's life. So of course, life is the way that it is because we are in a prison. If we were not in a prison, there would be freedom. There wouldn't be those who are more powerful than you who can do whatever they want with you. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be like that. You wouldn't be so powerful that you can do whatever you want to a chicken. Like whatever you want, you can do it to a chicken. It's like a chicken doesn't have rights at all. Humans just do what they want with these chickens. A human being can take a chicken and put it in a small box and not give it food and just let it die and it rots. And the fact that is possible, and if you are enough of a psycho, you could do something like that. I've seen people do horrible things to animals, Brian, and be like, dang, this is crazy. What created us? Like, if we're this messed up, whatever created us is 10 times worse. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have that much power. We don't have that much power. So whatever created us, because it has a lot of power, it must be 10 times worse, because it could have created a better world. This reminds me of these AI movies that I've watched on TikTok. There were these people who were living inside a simulation, and they were just following prompts. Like they would think they have free will, but they didn't have free will. Someone was just writing prompts, and they would just do what they're programmed to do. So some of them will be so tired. They'll gain enough awareness to actually know that they're being tortured. I remember this lady, she was in a hospital bed, and she said words that actually did hurt to me. Because I know that this is what a lot of people can relate to. Like if you went to hospitals, there's many hospitals, man. Like if you went to a hospital, you'd be like, if you truly try to pay attention to what people are going through, because when people are in hospitals, it's obvious that they're going through pain, right? And they had to be there because that was the only way that they could get help. But because people don't talk, that you don't know that they're in pain, but until you can see it, until you go to a hospital and see it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. People don't talk. They're in pain even when they're not in hospital, but they don't talk. But yeah, she said something that really made me think about what people are actually going through. She's like, you could have written a prompt that would make me happy, but instead you wrote a prompt that made me sick. So she's in hospital and she's sick. She's in pain, and she says those words. Like, look, you could have written a prompt that would make me happy. But why? Why did you write a prompt that would make me sick? Now I'm sick because of that, and I'm self-aware, so I'm just gonna be sick. Right? I'm aware of my sickness. I'm sick, I'm in pain, and you're the one who had the power to write a better prompt. Why? I was like, man, this is something. I mean, think about it. Whatever created this could have created a world that was, and I know people be like, no. If this world was better than it is, it wouldn't work, or people would actually be more miserable. Like, this is perfect because you know that something can happen to you. Like, for example, you can feel better because you're not in a hospital. You will feel better that you're not in prison. You can feel better that both your eyes are waking, your ears are waking. But no, that tells you that it's a prison, because you're not supposed to feel better because you're comparing your life to other people's lives. Like, how bad things can be, so you feel good because they are not that bad. No. You shouldn't even know how bad things can be. You should just enjoy. You should just be experiencing joy all the time because there are good things that are happening. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know that things can be bad. Just because a person doesn't know that things can be bad doesn't mean that they cannot enjoy the good that they have. They don't even need to appreciate anything. You just enjoy and just enjoy and just enjoy and just enjoy. If it means that we must keep on forgetting some things so that we'll enjoy these things, it will be good, as long as we're enjoying. But if we keep on forgetting while we're being tortured, then that sucks. So I could imagine watching Inception for the first time. I remember some people would say the same thing about Prison Break. Like, I wish that I could erase my memory so that I can watch what is this movie? This series, Prison Break, or but this is the series that I'm talking about is that one with Walter White. Uh, Breaking Bad, yes, Breaking Bad. I'm jealous of those who have not watched Breaking Bad yet, because they will experience. Oh, Atlanta. I remember a lot of people say that about Atlanta, but Atlanta. What's beautiful about Atlanta is that you can rewatch it. Like I've watched like episodes of Atlanta so many times, right? So many times. There are episodes that I've repeated so many times. Like the last episode, it was All a Dream. I really enjoyed that episode, and the first episode of season 2. Um, I think it's called The Crocodile Man. Like Cat Williams was funny. I on that episode, he was funny, dude. So yeah, if our memories kept on getting erased so that we can experience what we loved, right? Again, like, because you will appreciate it more when you experience it for the first time, because it feels like the first time. That would be beautiful, because consciousness will just be enjoying itself basically. But no, it's not like that here, bro. People just be suffering and you're like, damn, and then they forget. That's the crazy thing. I told you that I don't think we actually die. People just think that when people die it's like the end. I don't think consciousness can die, and that's what sucks. So, but then we also have proof that it does forget other experiences that it has had. Like it seems to localize itself within an experience, right? When you are dreaming, that world feels real, and it feels like it's the only world that exists. You don't think in your dream that, yeah, I'm gonna wake up. This is just a dream. Like it's rare for people to even have lucid dreams. It's like the rarest thing. It's like a glitch basically. Like it's not something that is supposed to happen. But maybe, if even in prisons people can break out. We've seen that happen. It's not supposed to happen, but they've planned enough to break out. Someone, before I decided to record this video, I was reading comments, and someone told me about some guy's work. I think his name is Young or something like that. Like his surname is Young, something like that. The guy that the person recommended. I'm gonna watch their videos. They say this person has been having OBEs for a very long time, and he teaches people how to experience that, how to have an out of body experience, right? Like, yeah, maybe some people have found a way to free themselves from this matrix, but it doesn't mean it isn't a matrix. It doesn't mean that it isn't a prison. As even a slave can escape slavery. We've seen that happen. There's happened in history so many times. Even a person who's been kidnapped, we've seen people escape. That can happen. But it seems to be a rare thing. It seems like many of us are still in this prison, and we don't have a clue how to set ourselves free. We just experience being in this prison without having any real hope. Some people are so tired that they're just like, what, man, I'm done thinking about all of this. Some people think ignorance is bliss. Like, yeah, maybe it's better to just be ignorant and not look at this as a prison, even though it is. I envy those who are not conscious enough to view this as a prison, because I'm miserable, after reaching this level of consciousness. So at least if I was less conscious than I am, I would feel like this is not a prison, and I would enjoy it. So I wouldn't suffer more. That's why some people say ignorance is bliss. But I say to you that if there's a way out, you gotta first know that you're in prison, so that you can try to free yourself. Figure out how you can free yourself. It might take time. I mean, this is like weirdest prison that you can find yourself in, because you don't know what's outside of the prison. You don't know why you are here, how long it's gonna take. Some people are saying it's not a prison. Some people are comfortable here. You know what I'm saying? Some people, you're dealing with different kinds of people who are operating at different levels of consciousness. They're not as aware as you are, and it sucks. So this is what you're dealing with. You see, for you to truly be happy, no one must be telling you how to live your life. But in this realm, not only are we told how we must live our lives, we are programmed to live our lives the way that those who are more powerful than us want us to live life. Since you were a kid, you went totally free. Your parents were like, you gotta go to school. You're like, I don't want to go to school. No, go to school so that you have a better future. You're like, well, I just want to play, man, mom. I just want to play. Let me just go outside and play and have fun with other kids. We'll figure it out as we get older. You know what I'm saying? That will make like that. That's what actually would make you happy. It's like parents have figured out how to make a living without having to be slaves, without having to be indoctrinated, without having to be brainwashed, without having to be taught things that they might not even want to learn. You know what I'm saying? So as kids, you go out and you play, you have fun, you go back home, your parents tell you that, hey, yeah, you're gonna be an adult. Here's how this adulting thing works. You need to be able to, you need to have a family, and you need to able to do certain things in order to, survive. But you find that you're not slaves, you're not prisoners, So you're having a lot of fun, but you're also learning, or you're also being taught what you will need to do in the end. You know what I'm saying? So, but when we were kids, we were never that free. We were never that free. We were told what we need to do, how we need to think, how we need to feel, what this meant, what that meant, and we needed to believe what we were being told, and that really sucked, right? If they ask you what is energy, I remember it's one of the questions that we got asked that everyone knew the answer to. What is energy? The ability to do work, that's energy. But what if I have my own definition of energy? You know what I'm saying? You are told what the answer is. You're asked a question and you're told what the answer is. They're not trying to figure out if you can come up with an answer that makes more sense than the answer that you've already been given. They tell you what the answer is. If you come up with another answer, you fail. And if you fail, it means that you're going to be stuck on the same grade. Your friends are going to be, you know what I'm saying, progressing in life while you're not. And because you rely so much on the system, there's no other way. You got to make sure that you pass. So you got to sell your soul. That's what selling your soul is. And people don't even realize it. It's like you must believe what you don't believe, or do what you don't believe in, just to survive. Do you get what? That's it. People hate prostitutes. Hey, she's a prostitute. Like, what is prostitution? People having sex with people that don't want to have sex with, don't want to have sex. They're having sex with people they don't want to have sex with for money. You are waking up in the morning, working a job that you don't like for money. You are accepting values that don't align to your true values for money. Doing things that you don't believe in for money. It's just that we are so good at pointing fingers, man. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like, human beings are so good at figuring out what other people's mistakes are. You know what I'm saying? They're not good at seeing their own. So they think they're perfect. Like humans want to feel like they are perfect. It's like every human wants to feel like they're perfect, and other people are not. So they feel good about their decisions that they're making, and they hate other people, or they want to judge other people for making different decisions. It sucks. Like, we're in this kind of prison where we're suffering in so many different ways. Suffering emotionally, psychologically, physically. You know what I'm saying? Even though these days it seems like we suffer emotionally more than physically, but we do suffer a lot. Sentient beings do suffer a lot. It seems like animals suffer physically and more. And the reason why they suffer physically more is because they are not at this level of consciousness where they are able to understand their own suffering. Someone said, how do you know animals don't know like their level of suffering? Because we can't communicate with them. And that's really a good question, but I think their behavior tells us a lot. You can tell when a dog is not happy even though you can't communicate with it. But it doesn't take a lot for a dog to be happy. The dog is not really asking itself, hey, what is life? What is this and that? As long as you are there for it, it's good, you know? As long as you are walking your dog, it's like your dog, bro. I've seen many videos. And I want to have a dog, one day. Build my own place and have a dog. That would be good. Not a dog, dogs. I love dogs, bro. Like I can't even explain my love for dogs. I really, really love dogs. So people on TikTok sometimes they do record videos of how their dog's reaction when they say some things, Like if they tell their dogs that they're going for a walk, you see that dog running all over the house, like it's so damn happy. It's so damn happy. Like dogs do like walking with their owners, bro. They do love that. Like they are so damn happy when that happens. So you can tell when a dog is happy. You can tell when a dog is sad. It makes these noises. You ever felt bad for a dog, bro? Like it's making these noises because it can sense that something is not right or it's in pain. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they asking themselves the deepest philosophical questions. They just can tell when they don't prefer an experience. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on in their world. But they suffer more physically than they suffer emotionally. We suffer physically. Human beings do suffer physically. We torture one another a lot. A lot. Actually, that happens a lot. But I think animals have it the worst because they don't even have rights. You see, but we suffer more psychologically and emotionally because we're asking ourselves a lot of questions and things don't seem to be working our way. Like there are a lot of systems that are put in place to make it hard for people to experience life the way that they want to experience life. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could want a partner as a man, but you broke, you don't have money, and you know if you don't get money, it's not easy to find someone that's gonna love you. It's how it works in this room, and that should tell you everything that you need to know. You know what I'm saying? You should ask yourself why, if a man has a lot of money, he has a lot of options with women, and if he doesn't have anything, no one even looks at him twice. You know what I'm saying? It's life in this room. It's a prison. It's a hell room. So it's supposed to be like that. We never love for who we are like that, and that's the kind of love that people want. You ask a person how they want to be loved. They want to be loved for who they are. At the end of the day, that's what people want, is to be loved for who they are. Not necessarily about having the best partner and all that. Like you could have a girl that everyone wants and that that everyone wants, that's very attractive and smart, but if you know that she loves you because of what you have and that's the only reason, there will still be a part of you that feels sad, right? That doesn't feel satisfied. You can be with a person and you are not happy in the relationship, but the way that the relationship looks to people, it seems like a very healthy relationship, but you and your partner are happy, but you can tell when you touch her that she's not happy. You can tell when you're sleeping with her that she's not happy. I mean, she's happy that she has all these things that you have to offer, but she's not happy to have you as a partner. Like, she doesn't love you as a person. So she just loves what you have, basically. So you can tell. So you won't be happy in that relationship. She doesn't communicate with you that much. When you're sitting together on the sofa, she doesn't do this. You know what I'm saying? When you're sleeping with her, she doesn't turn and look away and then take your hand and say, hug me like this, and you sleep together like that. Like, there's no love like that. You know what I'm saying? You can feel it. But everyone thinks that you're happy. So we can, it sucks that it's like that for a lot of people in this realm. You know what I'm saying? So you suffer because you struggle to find a partner. You struggle more than animals do. It seems like animals don't struggle as much when it comes to that. You struggle because of breakups. It seems like animals don't struggle a lot when it comes to that. You struggle because you fail at school, you know what I'm saying? You fail, or you don't have money to pay your tuition fees. Like, being a human is not easy because there are a lot of things that you are expected to do, you know. An animal just has to learn how to hunt. The animals that don't hunt, that eat grass, they don't really need to learn much. Maybe they need to learn how to escape from predators, and that's it. They don't need to try, they don't need to do much, basically. They just need to know how to escape from predators. As a human, there's a lot that you gotta do, bro. Every test that you write, like, damn, I gotta nail it because I might fail, bro. You know, you stress. You know, students sometimes become suicidal because they're failing. They're like, there's no way I'm gonna pass this model, bro. And I have to study all the time, and you find that your relationship is not working, things are not okay at home, your mom doesn't have money and she's sick, you know, like there's a lot that people go through. So that's why we suffer psychologically. This prison was meant to torture us psychologically and emotionally. So we find ourselves suffering, and it seems like it uses it touches us physically so we can suffer more psychologically and emotionally. Like when you're sick and you're in a hospital and you have children, you know, and you feel like you're gonna die and you're thinking about your children all the time, and you know you're not working, you know, maybe you don't get paid when you are not working, so you got to be able to work, but you can't work because you are very sick. So you're wondering what your children are going to be eating. You're wondering what's going to happen to your children when you die, or if you die, like what's going to happen, who's going to take care of them. You know that your relatives don't give a damn. You know that the community does not give a damn. You know that your children are not old enough to be able to take care of themselves. So you know what I'm saying, you're suffering a lot. And you want to tell me this is not a prison? Like, there's meaning to all of this. One day it's gonna make sense. No, it isn't. It will have made sense a long time ago, bro. It will have made sense a long time ago. People will be understanding what life is, what they need to be doing, and that would make them happy. It doesn't make people happy to always be fearing the worst, because they know things happen in this realm, things that they don't want to see happening. You're always in fear. You're always scared. You think things are going to go bad every time. You know what I'm saying? You are not okay because you're afraid of some experiences, and you know, because things happen to people that you see every day. You're like, I hope that doesn't happen to me. You know what I'm saying? It's the kind of realm that we found ourselves in. We don't have the kind of power that we need that will let us be free and just love life, you know. A lot of people think they love life, but they don't. It's just that this is all that they know, and it's like, I gave you this example. If, for an example, you are in a relationship, even if you're not being treated well in that relationship, but if that's the only option that you have, it'll feel like you will still appreciate it because it's all that you can. You know what I'm saying? It's like people who got stuck maybe somewhere, lost, like, you know, that are lost, and like you're lost in the wild, and you're alone. You're gonna eat anything. You can even eat a rat. You're gonna appreciate like if you see a rat, you actually like it's all that you can eat right now. You know what I'm saying? People who are so clean, they like clean water. You find dirty water, you drink in that water just to survive. Find that there's a donkey that died inside the water, but you don't really mind. You gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? So it's because this is all that we know. We don't know if there are other realms, and how to go to these realms. Like, can I just sit down and focus and find myself in a realm that I actually prefer more than this realm? It's like, it's the only realm that I know. I don't know how to go to other realms. I don't know what happens, after this life is ended. I don't know if the experience is gonna be better or worse, you know, because you don't know. If this was possible, you don't know what's next. What if you find yourself in a room that's 10 times worse than this room, and you have no memories of how this room was? It's crazy. Well, people are suffering. They're just not really talking about it because, they don't even know how to. Like, what do you even say? Who do you complain to? Who can you really tell that you're suffering? And who can really help you? It seems like all you got is yourself. And you just gotta deal with awareness itself. It's very difficult, man. It's a very difficult experience that conscious beings are having. You have desires, unfulfilled desires. You've it's like you've reached so many stages in your life where you had desire. Like when you were a kid, you desired what kids desired, but you never got those things. Your childhood was horrible. You became a teenager, you desired what teenagers desired, but you didn't get what you desired. Now you're an adult, you desire what you desire, but you're not getting these things. Doesn't that suck? But that when you were a kid, you wanted toys, you wanted your parents to take you out, you wanted your parents to take you to Casa Bonita. It reminds me of a South Park episode, Casa Bonita. It's one of the best episodes of South Park, man. But you wanted your parents to take you to Casa Bonita. You wanted your parents to be able to afford to pay for a trip. Like maybe when they announce at your school that there's going to be a trip in October. It's an expensive trip, but you'll be going to a very beautiful place. You go home and you tell your parents, like, yeah, we don't have money. Like at the time, it matters to you. You want to go out with other kids and have fun and see the world, but your parents ain't able to afford that. You want the nicest food. You want your parents to buy the kind of food that you want, but you're eating nonsense all the time. You're not enjoying the food. You know what I'm saying? You're not sleeping in a nice bed. There's no TV. Even if there's a TV, but it's an old TV. There's no PlayStation. There's things that kids want. Your parents can't even afford to buy you a soccer ball that you can play with. Like the things that you want. So fine, you survive your childhood. You become a teenager. As a teenager, you need to have some swag. You know what I'm saying? Your parents can't afford that. You don't look fly at all. Girls don't even look at you twice. Like, they look at you once. If you try to talk to them, they'll be like, you don't even deserve to talk to me. That's the experience that some people have had. So the childhood was horrible. Then they become teenagers. No girl likes them. They don't have like cool friends. You know what I'm saying? It's just horrible for them. And maybe they even go through bullying. When we were growing up, if you didn't even have a girl, like you get bullied. Other guys will be laughing at you. Oh, you're scared of girls. You're scared of girls. You have no game. You have no this and that. So that's your experience. What you desire the most as a teen, you're not getting it, right? As a teen, what you really desire at the time is to have a girl. Like that's what teenagers desire a lot. That makes them feel happy. That makes them feel fulfilled. So you're not getting that. You become an adult. Now you're this adult broken. Now the world has not been giving you what you wanted when it actually mattered. So okay, maybe as a young adult, now you can afford the toys that you wanted. You can afford a PlayStation, but you don't want a PlayStation now. Like that time has passed. Now you want something better. Maybe now you want a car. Maybe now you want your own house. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you want a good paying job now, but all of that is not happening. So you want your good relationships now. You know what I'm saying? That is not happening. And you become older. Now you're old. You have enough money to buy a car, but it doesn't really matter that much to you. Like, when you're a young adult, you wanted to travel a lot, but now you're tired, man. You've seen the worst. So now it doesn't matter. Now you can tell me how is that good? How is that a good experience to have? We need to be honest about the experiences that we're having. Otherwise we'll just keep on experiencing hell, pretending as if it isn't hell, and things are just going to be becoming worse, and we're going to be pretending as if things are okay. That's what we do. That's what we're very good at. It's pretending. People pretend. So you find that your life is just about pretending as if things are okay, as if you know what's going on, as if this is making sense, as if you don't feel like a slave, you don't feel like a prisoner. You know what I'm saying? You don't even want people to talk about that. You come across a video of someone saying something like this, and you're too negative. What you're really saying is that that person is too truthful. This is basically what you're saying. If this was good, no one would even be against it. No one will even be thinking that it's bad. Everyone would think that it's good, and everyone will be enjoying. So if there are some people who are telling you that this is bad, and it's not just about the experiences that they are having, it's about their awareness. Some people are experiencing life way worse than others, but they don't look at this as a prison. There are stories that they're telling themselves. There are stories that they believe about this realm, so they feel good. You find that there's this woman. She's a Christian. She doesn't even really have a home, right? Where she's living, it's not even her home. She's not being treated right. She doesn't have the things that she wants. The bed is too small. She doesn't sleep comfortable, but they're telling her that Jesus loves her. And one day she's going to meet this Jesus, and this Jesus is going to take her to heaven or whatever. So she feels good because of what she was promised. You can feel good because of what you were promised. If someone promised you 8 million, like say next year you're gonna get 8 million, even when you're struggling and suffering, you're gonna be like, you know what, man, next year I'm gonna get 8 million. So all of this will be over. You even be planning what you're gonna be buying. There's this house that I want to buy. I've spoken to the owners. They're good. They're gonna sell me the house when I get the money. I'm gonna travel. I've always wanted to go to New York City, so yeah, I'm gonna go to New York around July next year. You know what I'm saying? Like see what it's like. Communicate with Black Americans because I'm a fan of rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if that person who promised you the money was lying. So it's the same thing, people who believe in these religions that they believe in, they're promised a world that is better than this world. So they're like, you know what, I'm just gonna be here for a while, you know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm here forever, you know what I'm saying? So I shouldn't be that mad, because in the end I will be saved and I'll find myself in a place where I'm experiencing eternal joy. And that's what I've always wanted. So that's what keeps some people going, even if they're going through the worst. But some people are like, hey, man, I'm not going to believe things that don't really make sense. I'm just going to be real about what I'm experiencing, and I don't like it. I don't think this is good. I don't feel like this is fun. Something about it feels wrong. Something about it feels odd, and I'm not happy, and I mustn't pretend as if I am. I don't see the point of pretending, so I'm just going to be honest and hope for the best. Maybe in this room you mustn't hope for the best, but then in this room you mustn't really hope for the best, but you must hope that you can be free. So in the end, it's like in this room, yeah, I don't know if you can really hope for the best, or maybe you can just expect the worst. So you kind of hope for the best and expect the worst, but you can hope that if there are other realms that you can find yourself in, your experience is much better, and like our collective experience will be better actually, because you mustn't want to be in a world where you are good and every other people are not, because that will mean that you can be those people one day. You know what I'm saying? You find that they're doing better than you and you're not, and like you don't want that. You want a world where people are happy, where things are working out. Things are, unless you were in a simulation and you were the only one who was conscious in that simulation, and in that simulation you wanted to know what it's like to be a king, to make decisions for everyone, to be free while everyone else is not. But you were the only one in that simulation. You were the only one who can suffer and who can have a good life, and you were having a good life. Maybe that would be better, but I guess, but I don't know, like something about it still doesn't feel right. You know what I'm saying? But it kind of makes sense. It's a simulation, right? It's like when you're playing a video game and you're shooting NPCs, they're not conscious. So, but to even love that, I don't know. Like, you just love shooting. But it is what it is. I'm not saying people shouldn't play games. I'm saying, like, I think the only reason why I don't play games is because I get dizzy. I don't know with the new games that they're making how, if they will not make me dizzy, but the games that I've played in my life have made me dizzy. So it's like, I'm not gonna play games, bro. I'm just gonna live in what we call the real world. But there's nothing wrong with loving video games and playing video games. You could be having more fun than people could ever have their entire lives, you know. So no one should even judge another when it comes to what makes them happy. Thank you all guys for watching until the end. Like the video, tell me what you think. It was one of my favorite videos because I haven't done this in a while, like recording in the room. Like, this is where I truly feel comfortable. I can talk forever, bro. I really feel comfortable when I'm recording in the room and I'm able to express myself thoroughly. So yeah, like the video, tell me what you think, subscribe to the channel, send me an email. I told you all that I'm gonna go live and I want people to join. So send me an email, bfmforever@gmail.com. Yeah, tell me to send you the link. I'm gonna tell you what time we're gonna go live together and have a conversation. It's gonna be a long conversation, so that's gotta happen. So we'll need to figure it out and make it work. So thank you all for that. Share my videos with other people. If you wanna like us to the Discord thing. Yeah, that's I'm also, don't worry about it. I know it's been a long time coming. Don't worry about it. Everything will work out. Thank you all guys.